Hey, it's Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is Reza with the Islamic Cultural Center of Fresno.
Yes, sir.
Did I get that right?
You got it all correct, including my name.
Oh,
man.
I'm doing
very
good. And I'm
happy.
batting 1,000. So, Reza, the Islamic Cultural Center, and I know you've been on the show before, but not with me.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about it.
Sure. The Islamic Cultural Center of Fresno is an organization. It's a center. It's a cultural center that was established shortly after 9/11. It opened.
Well, you know, like I said before we went on camera, that must have been a kind of a difficult gig to do that at that time.
Yeah, it was difficult because the thrust of anti-Muslim sentiment in the United States obviously was at a high. We've seen other highs since then, but it gave us a podium and it gave us a space to be able to speak out and say, this is not us. It gave us a place to gather people from all traditions and all faiths to get together to honor the Muslim community in America, because, you know, the average American knows that we're within the community, and this was something from outside. This was something that had nothing to do with us. So it gave us the podium to speak up, and we've used that podium since. So when there has been things that have happened in our world that haven't been great, it's been a hub where people know that they're going to get a good message. They're going to get a message of power and encouragement for the Muslim American community, and they're going to get distancing from anybody who would cause us harm. So it was a interesting timing.
Yeah.
But gave us the podium we needed.
But it was important too.
Absolutely.
I mean, things have evolved a lot since 9/11. There's been a lot of growth and understanding, and there's even within the Islamic world in the Middle East, people see that it's not monolithic. I mean, there's a whole lot of diversity, and the extremes on either end are quite different. And for people, because Islam is not a common word that up until 9/11 that was people in the American That's right. And when I say America, I mean North and South, the whole continent. We didn't know.
Sure.
So we learned a lot.
That's right. And I like to say, you said it wasn't monolithic. There's 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. We're not monolithic.
Right.
We don't have the same culture. We don't have the same ethnicity. We don't have the same race. We don't have the same language. But we get all lumped into one big category, which we wouldn't do for other religions like Christians. You wouldn't think all Christians are the same. Well, there's 2 billion Christians. There's no way we can all be the same.
You mean they're not all the...
No,
they're not. And that's, it's maybe a topic for another conversation.
Yes, sir.
But I do understand the great diversity that exists within the Muslim community. And Islam has contributed a lot to the United States since 9/11, in a lot of ways.
And since before. I mean, if we want to look at the contributions of the Muslim world and civilization to what we do, I mean, eyeglasses, cameras, the first flight machine. I bet you appreciate that I have clean breath. The toothbrush, the toothpaste, the ability, so contributions are here. Now, the writings of Aristotle would not have existed today if we didn't save them from being burned.
That's right. It came out of the Islamic
That's right.
world.
And mathematics, medicine, so much of what we do today, we have to be grateful for early Muslim scholars that contributed to world civilization. And here in the United States, Muslims have been around since Columbus' time. There's evidence that some were here pre-Columbus. 2 of the ships of Columbus were navigated by Muslims. Don't know if I want to keep that as something to be proud of, but it's true. And then the slave trade brought 30 to 40% of Africans who were Muslims. And then since then, there's been a constant Muslim presence. But because Muslims were not engaged in, they weren't very civically engaged. They didn't they didn't find ways to build infrastructure or whatnot. They were always seen as a fringe, or they just kind of got along as another immigrant community, never really discussing what was different. And then I think in all the terror that came of 9/11, if there was something, I don't want to call it positive, if there was something that came out of it, was the Muslim awareness that we've been here, we're Americans, and we need to understand what it means to be civically engaged, to be partners, to build, not just to build business, because that's what we were already to, but what it means to build capacity, community. And
so the center here in Fresno has been working on building community, I know. Right. So what's going on there?
So we have our programs just like any other church or synagogue or temple. So we have our weekly programs. We gather Fridays at 1 o'clock as determined by our faith. We have Quran study sessions. We have a lot of special programmings. But something that's really powerful and positive that comes out of our center is that we have become sort of a beacon for the interfaith community in Fresno.
So you were telling me.
Yeah, we have our center is commonly the central point and the meeting place for Faith in the Valley, for the Interfaith Alliance of Central California, for the Human Rights Coalition, for the Interfaith Scholar Weekend, and many different organizations that get together to bring different religious, cultural, ethnic, or racial groups together. They meet at our center. They speak at our center. When we have programs, they speak. So it's become a place where people can feel comfortable, for people to feel at home, for people to come. We have a slogan, come as you are, go as you are. No one here will try to change you. So people are comfortable to walk in as themselves. They're not going to be evangelized to. They're not going to be told how they're wrong or right. They're going to come as they are. They're going to share who they are from the point of where they're at, and they're going to leave the same way, which is a beautiful feeling to be able to walk into a space.
Sounds to me like they come and they're welcomed.
Absolutely welcomed.
And that's it.
That's our mission.
That's it.
And if we do that, then we're going to succeed.
So, Reza, have you got anything going on, coming up of significance you'd like to share with us today?
Sure. We have programs. We have 4 programs from September 17th till September 20th, which commemorates a historical event, which was the grandson of the Prophet Muhammad rising up against injustice. So we have that commemoration coming along, and we have great programs throughout the year. If one would go to our website at www.icfresno.org, or they can email me at Reza, R-E-Z-A, at icfresno.org. We have a lot of programs that go on through the year, a lot of interfaith programs, a lot of social justice programs, and a lot of religious programming as well.
Go. Well, listen, I want to thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much.
Listen, it helps the community when we all come together and learn more about what our community and who our community is made of.
That's right.
I highly recommend you may want to take some time and get a hold of Reza there at the Islamic Center in Fresno.
Please.
Okay? Thanks again for
Thanks
being
for
on the show.
having me.
You got it.
It was really fun.
And I'll see you when we come back.